Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. How would you describe your emotions, your soul, beating heart when the Raiders are 2-11 and they've lost 7 in a row, and it's just like everything's falling apart? And it's not even 2-11 where it's like we had a great quarterback that got injured and like that kind of sent the season spiraling. You know, it's not like, we just got hit with some, Gruden got fired out of nowhere. Like, it's not like anything just like lightning struck this team and, oh man, it really sent us in a tailspin. It's like, nope, this was orchestrated. This is the team that was put together on purpose. And still we just look worse every week. Is it? I feel like I'm already dead inside. Like, it used to like hurt, and now it's just kind of like I'm just numb.
Yeah, I wouldn't say numb. I think that for me, it's just more from an area of understanding. Like, I get why we're not good. That was the design of the offseason. We didn't get any high price free agents to fill holes. We just get a bunch of veteran one year guys. A lot of we traded around a little bit to get a lot of draft picks, some UDFAs and stuff like that. We didn't address a lot of major things this offseason. Pete sold the front office that he could win if he just has a couple of pieces. They went out and got him a couple of veteran pieces, and it didn't work out. So we knew that there was a slim kind of like sweet spot for this team to be successful, and we were outside of that. Injuries didn't help. Infighting and coaching staff didn't help. A couple things kind of derailed it. But I mean, it's not altogether surprising or excuse me, shocking. I don't think it's shocking. Is it a surprise that we're this bad? Well, it depends on who you ask, because when you're bad, and it is what it is. I think the team that we have, the lack of talent that we have across the team, combined with the key areas of injury that we had, we made a shaky part of our offense even worse by taking 2 starters off of it, the 2 best starters off of it. But I mean, it's not altogether, a shocker. Is it, like, oh, okay, this is what's going to happen? Bummer. But it's not, stop the presses type of thing.
I feel like I'm hopped up on expired morphine. Like, I just at the point where I'm just like numb and feeling nothing inside. Because I was more pessimistic at the start of the season than I think most of Raider Nation. Because I'm a follow the money guy. It's like 6th most cap space in football to start the season. Like, they are purposefully keeping their wallets in their pocket, and it's not like you get to Spitek and Mark Davis get to keep the money they don't spend. Like, no, it's just salary cap moving forward. So I kind of felt like that, but even I didn't think it would be this bad. Even I thought like, oh, dude, there's no fucking way. Chip Kelly, Ashton Genty, there's no way the running game can't at least improve a little bit. It got worse. Geno Smith, right? 3 pretty good years in Seattle after Gardner Minshew, Jimmy Garoppolo, Farva. You're like, okay, this guy's got to be the best quarterback we've had since Derek Carr. Nope, worse than all of them. Worse than all the other. Like, I think you're underplaying it. I think you're underplaying it, Soto. I think if you went back and how you felt right before week 1, and this is what happened, you'd be like, okay, there's a lot of things. The Raiders having a bad season, Lord knows we've seen enough of those, but I will say I am shocked it's been this bad and how it's been this bad. The things we thought would improve, we thought there's no way it could get worse. It got fucking worse.
Yeah, I mean, again, but it was by design. Yeah. I was optimistic because that's just the type of guy I am. And
roses.
And I was honest at what needed to be happen, or what needed to happen. Mm-hmm. I was honest about that. I thought Geno Smith could be an effective quarterback if, and here's the if you have a good running game, and you keep his feet clean, like we talked about in Seattle. When they were able to run the football and they were able to protect him, he was much better than the third season when they were kind of getting their bearings and going through a transition, and it wasn't working out that way. He's got, 15 picks? 6 of them were in 2 games, or 12 of them, or 6 of them, yeah. Almost half of them were in 2 games. So it's like, could he be effective? Yes, he could be effective, but there's not much around him, and he didn't get a lot of help. Has his play been bad? Yes, because he did throw every one of those 15 picks. He has taken all those sacks. We see him not going through his progressions, locking on his target, running into sacks. We've seen all of that. And that's part of the whole thing of what could we have done to help him be a better version of himself, run the ball more, have a better plan offensively, stuff like that, have better adjustments. That falls on Chip Kelly, other things, right? So I get what you're saying, that I'm not really trying to downplay that, but it was still a very narrow alley of success. A lot of things had to fall squarely into place, but they didn't. And on top of that, one of the more important groups in our team that was shaky got much worse by taking the 2 of the best players off of it in the offensive line. That kind of derailed the entire offense. So the 2 things that couldn't happen happened. We turned the ball over like crazy, and we couldn't protect or run the ball. Like, that's, when you say, if someone would have come up to you earlier in the season or before the season even started and say, look, we're going to take the best 2 players. Who are the best 2 players in the offensive line? Kolton Miller and Jackson Powers. Okay, we're not going to have them. We're going to have them for maybe a third of the season. Mm-hmm. Okay. And Geno Smith throws a lot of picks. What's our record going to be? You would have said fucking 2-4 wins tops. Mm. So that's what's happening.
Yeah. Defense is dog shit too. No one can tackle, the Christian Wilkins thing, obviously. Some guys we thought would step up didn't. So that's the question of the day. What are you feeling about the Raiders right now? Because I'm hearing a lot of people going from like, all right, if this happens one more season, I'm done. Or a lot of people like me, it's like, I'm just fucking dead inside. Soto, a little bit more optimism. Question of the day. Let us know. Comment section. What are your feelings? Let's talk about our feelings. Express your feelings. Lay down on the couch. Let the psychiatrist hear your words. Give me your feelings. Well, we got to see a bunch of youngins play Sunday. And I was hearing people talk about, oh, man, finally Pete Carroll's getting it and starting to play the young guys. Nope. They only played because all the veterans got hurt. Like, Darian Porter was only playing because Kyu Blu Kelly was hurt. Jack Bech, another wide receiver was in concussion, and Thornton, a rookie, so it's kind of a Henso crosser. And then Caleb Rogers, obviously injury. Kenny Pickett, not a rookie, but he only played because Geno got hurt. But you don't want to see your young guys play because of that. But I'm very glad we got to see these 4 players get some serious snaps on Sunday. Who do you want to start with of those 4?
Don't forget Shedrick Jackson too.
1 catch. I mean, talk about making good use of your
He only played 4 snaps, dude. He only played 4 snaps. Like, what do you want from the kid?
Talk about making it count, right? one target, catch, 1 touchdown.
And he beat the Riley Moss clean.
He looked good.
He fell down or was bad coverage. Like, no, man, it was he
looked good in the preseason. Like, we never touched on him because, like, look, we have so many rookie wide receivers. The tight ends are going to be the focal point of the passing game. We're going to run the game. There's no way this guy's going to get serious playing time, right? I think we all kind of didn't want.
But I think both of us also saw the same thing. He looked better than the backups he was playing against. Mm-hmm. He had more pop than the back. He just looked. You noticed him on the screen above all the backups he was playing. He's better than those guys.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. I think we both were like, "Wow, this guy's pretty good." But we're like, "All right, how much time we're going to spend on him? He's not going to ever see the
numbers
field,
game,
right?
Numbers game.
There's just too many better guys drafted ahead of him, whatever, right?" But
he earned more snaps, man.
Yeah, dude. I mean, if that doesn't give you another look. If there's one coach
Who
this
knows?
season that's proven you can look great as a rookie and still not get more looks, it's Pete Carroll. So would it be shocking if he doesn't see the field again the rest of the year? Because that's just how Pete's been. All right. So do you want to do all five? You want to do five?
Let's start with Kenny
Five
Pickett.
boys?
Let's start with Kenny Pickett.
Do it. Ironic that the guy with pick in his last name doesn't throw any picks, but the guy before him did. But, honestly, the biggest we'll get through the mechanics and the gameplay and all this kind of shit. But what struck me the most of watching Kenny Pickett play is just how inspired he looked. Because he's like, okay, fuck, this is my chance. Like I got some time. This is whether I'm on this team or next one. Here's how I'm gonna make some money. Here's going to draw some eyeballs. This is my chance. Like that was a big part of it. But it was juxtaposed how much Geno Smith is just sleep fucking walking through the last several games. He's like, they don't want me here. I don't want to be here. If I'm taking a sack, I'm just grabbing it and curling down. I don't want to get hurt. It's just the most uninspired football watching Geno Smith play. And this whole time, like, okay, he sucks. That's the problem. Offense blows. And he's obviously the spotlight of it, blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't until I saw Kenny Pickett like, oh, he's like quick feet in the pocket. Not because he's like way more athletic than Geno, because he gives a shit. Oh, he's like sprinting to the sideline looking for wide receivers. Not because he's more experienced than Geno. It's because he fucking cares. Like he just really, really cares. That was the biggest takeaway for me. Wasn't a specific throw, wasn't a read, wasn't a progression, wasn't how he handled the huddle. It was just like, oh shit, here's a young dude that cares. And we haven't seen that for a month and a half under center.
Yeah, it's a difference between wanting to run the play and make it happen, and doing whatever you can to make the play happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because Geno Smith is like, okay, well, you know what? I got pressured out of the pocket. I'm going to get sacked. I don't want to turn it over again. I'm just going to take the sack. Or this is not open right away. And this is my read. And Kenny Pickett. Now look, let's just be honest. Now, first off, Kenny Pickett was still going against the first team defense. The game was close enough to still have all the starters out there for Denver. So let's just put that to rest.
Yep.
Now, he was going against a softer prevent style defense. But you can't argue with the fact that the ball came out on time. Kenny Pickett was extremely decisive, accurate, mobile, and he showed the ability to have this same offense with the same people, the same players, have a little bit of pop to it. And that's what it was missing with Geno Smith.
8 of 11, 97 yards, that touchdown. And to your point, being in prevent defense is exactly the defense is supposed to stop that beautiful post route and throw by Jackson, right? Like he did a throw that prevent is supposed to stop, right? Like that was a fucking beautiful ball, great route, and all that stuff. I think I liked remember preseason we talked about, okay, like we have AOC, who we think is going to be a really good backup for us, should be for a long time, but it doesn't really fit Geno Smith. Like we talk about all the time. We want a backup that can mirror the starter. That you can come in and be like, all right, the vast majority of the playbook is still there. You can be a Diet Coke version of it. And it's like, all right, that's not really Farva, but that's Kenny Pickett. And that's also what I saw was like what we thought we were getting out of Geno, not a running quarterback, but a guy that can scramble and run if he needs to, a couple token designed runs every now and then. And certainly not crazy accurate at all, but they're capable of sprinting to the right on one foot, sling a rocket, right? Like we've seen Kenny do that. And we saw all those things, right? We saw the best versions of what we thought Kenny Pickett could bring.
Well, I mean, let's just take account of what actually happened here. It wasn't like Aiden O'Connell was benched. He broke his thumb. He was throwing hand. So he broke his thumb and he was put on injured reserve.
Thumb.
Was that?
Was it wrist or thumb?
I think it might have been thumb.
Thumb. Whatever.
Check on that for me while I pontificate.
Let me get my stats department to take a look. My deep research team.
Hold checking. So he was hurt, got put on IR. That's the reason why he lost his job. Now, you can say whatever you want because it was at risk. Okay. You can say whatever you want about I like this person over that person and this and that. You're splitting hairs here. What you need to focus on is the people whose job it is to make the decisions. What are they comfortable with? If you're a John Spitek, you're going to be much more comfortable with keeping and playing the player that you used a 5th-round draft pick, draft capital that he really needs to get a backup veteran quarterback. You're not invested in the guy on the rookie contract making no money, the 4th-round pick that you didn't draft. Mm-hmm. So that's not an indictment on how good AOC is or isn't. It's just the fact of the matter in the NFL. He's not invested in Aiden O'Connell. He likes Kenny Pickett, and he used capital for Kenny Pickett, so he wants to get a return on his capital. That's why Kenny Pickett's there, and that's why he's going to start if Geno Smith can't go.
So, according to Ian Rapoport, it's looking like that's the case. Quarterback, go away, Dad. Quarterback Geno Smith dealing with a shoulder injury is considered unlikely to start on Sunday, sources say. He won't practice today. That will put Kenny Pickett in line to start against the Eagles, his former team, on Sunday. Now, we're recording this Wednesday evening. If you're Pete Carroll and you're still trying to win and you're still trying to put your best foot forward and you're Olsen and you're whoever, you're still trying to look good. Even though I think most Raider Nation's like, man, we better not back ass our ways into a couple of wins and get out of the Mendoza sweepstakes in the draft, right? Mm-hmm. But all parties involved on this offense are all working for their job and future job. They still want to look good. Every single person. Coach, front office, player, whatever. How in the fuck on a Wednesday did it leak who the starting quarterback's going to be if it wasn't on purpose? What I think happened, Soto, is Pete Carroll is trying to save face because he's like, okay, I can't possibly start Geno Smith on Sunday after how much better Pickett looked, how terrible he's looked, how uninspired he looked. I can't possibly fucking start him, but I don't want to bench him and have everyone be proven correct. So I'm going to have it leaked out there, Soto, that, oh, he's hurt and not playing, even though it's several days. The Wednesday before, when does a coach ever admit who's going to start under center Wednesday before a Sunday game? This is another bitch-ass move by Pete Carroll, I feel.
Yeah, more so than proving others right, he's trying to not be proved wrong. And
especially after all the rookies look so good.
Yeah,
like
here's the question that I made a video about it, but here's the question that not a lot of people are asking. And I'll get into that in a second. That's called a tease.
That walk away is a tease. Told her to put on sweats if she's going to be on camera.
I know. What's up? So the issue that Pete Carroll is running into right now is he's married basically to Geno Smith. They're a package deal. He's sold the front office on I can win now if you get me the quarterback. I can win with him. So they're married basically. Mm-hmm. The only way that you can kind of divorce from that is if one can't go, which is Geno Smith being hurt. You have to go to somebody. You have to do this, right? So if that takes the choice out of it, it's a necessity. There's that. The part that continues to make Pete Carroll look really bad is not only the surface level is that the rookies are playing really well once you give them more snaps. That makes him look bad. But what makes him look even worse is now Pete Carroll is questioned on every single player, young player that's not playing. Berg, the linebackers, right? You have Charles Grant.
We've been begging to see what the Bergs got under the hood.
You have a bunch of these other guys that you see Tonka Hemingway got his first sack against Bowles. Bowles had not given up a sack to anyone all year. That is the first sack Bowles has given up, the tackle from the Broncos. and he was beat clean. It wasn't a fluke. It wasn't like Bo Nix stumbled into him. No. He beat him with violent, quick hands, shucked him to the side, and made the sack. These are things that the question that's being asked because of these young players playing really well is they are playing so much better than the people they replaced. So it's not a thing where like, oh, they just beat out the guy in front because the guy in front of them was good, but they just beat him out. No. The guys in front of them were bad, and these guys are playing much better. So the question to ask is, who else is ready that isn't given a chance? Because now Pete Carroll is looking like a guy that can't distinguish a guy who's ready, who's a good practice player, and a guy who's ready to play.
And Pete fucked himself both ways because he dug his heels in and was like, nope, none of these young guys are starting. I want to win now. And then he could have saved face a few weeks ago. He could have been like, could have went to the press conference and said, you know what, guys, I misjudged this team. I got super excited about this season. I really thought we had something going. That's on me. Let's start we're going to start changing things up. And you don't admit you're tanking, right? You're not saying you're giving up and looking towards next season. You're like we talked about before. You just say simply, the guys that are starting aren't cutting it. So we're going to keep throwing players in there until we figure it out. And he could have saved a lot of face. Pete Carroll could have been like,
that would have been perfectly fine. Because he did that, actually. He did that. He did say in his press conferences, I felt we were a lot further along than we were.
Yeah.
Hey, you admitted a fault. That's fine. Well, now don't keep throwing out the same guys. Right? Alex Kappa actually looks pretty damn good at center. He looks pretty good. Much better than Meredith did. Mm-hmm. You can't and Kappa even said he was taking snaps in the preseason at center.
And he's not starting these young guys because he had an epiphany. He's been forced to because the shitty veterans he had in front of him keep getting hurt. He's been forced to start them, and now they've looked good. So he's been fucked both ways.
That's why
his heels and wasn't going to change.
If he would have,
now he's been proven wrong.
The big thing about Carlos Rogers. I keep saying Carlos Rogers. Caleb Rogers is he had a bad practice leading up to that game. Yeah. So they went with someone else. So those 5 bad games that Putnam / Meredith had didn't count for anything. Mm. You have backups for a reason, right? And even if you don't think they're as prepared or they're as ready as the starters are, that's why you started the starters. If the starters are going out and playing that poorly, then you put the backups in. The mentality of Pete that he has, it's almost like he needs to stick to his guns, because if he doesn't, he's going to look even worse. But the problem is he stuck to his guns and he's dug his heels in so much, it's looking even worse now than if he would have reversed field and played the young guys.
This feels to me like a Pete Carroll Make-A-Wish Foundation season. Like he just came out of retirement to give his sons NFL jobs, to hang out with Geno, get Tyler Lockett another $1 million for no reason. Like it just like
at least Tyler Lockett's catching balls, dude.
At least he's actually doing something, right?
At least he's doing something. He's moving the chains.
But it's like the season was over, and you go and pick up a 32-year-old Tyler Lockett at the worst team in football the Titans didn't want. It's like, what are you? It's like that's all you're doing.
Well, look, the Titans were doing what the Raiders should have done. They knew Tyler Lockett wasn't the future, so what do? We go ahead and get all the young guys out there. And they have that kid from Stanford. I forgot his last name, but that dude was freaking awesome, dude. And he went out there and he's playing really well. Now he's got more snaps. That's what Pete Carroll should have done. But Pete Carroll doubled down once we got rid of Jacoby Myers and brought Lockett in.
And part of me, like as a father, a part of me gets Pete Carroll being like, hey, I've done all you can do in coaching. National title in college, Super Bowl in pros. I'm going to be 80 in the next half decade. Let me just do some cool shit with my sons and cherry pick some guys that I like. Like there's a tiny part of me that gets that because we think of the Raiders as this giant big thing that's important to us and we want it to win, and that takes all precedence. Even with my dad and uncles own a trucking business, and like they busted their ass for 40, 50 years to make it successful. And now they're kind of like, you know what? Let's have the nieces and nephews have some roles. Let's use the company to do some family reunion stuff. Right? It's like I see that happen when you start getting in your 60s, 70s. You know, the money, the W's, that starts to fade a little bit to family and other things. And it just feels like that. It feels like that kind of season for Pete. Not that it's completely that way, but his priorities are shifting from whatever it takes to win to, hey man, I love my sons. I want them close by. I want to launch their NFL careers.
Makes total sense from that perspective. It's hard to try to find another avenue, another parallel universe that makes more sense than that one. And I think we all knew that Pete Carroll coming back, everybody knew that if you hire Pete Carroll, he's going to bring his kids. He's going to bring them in. He's going to find them something to do. We didn't know it was going to be the second most important coach on the offense. You know,
I forgot Brendan Carroll was the run game coordinator too.
Yeah, dude.
The two worst things on the
dude.
Other than like
double fucking gooch punch right there. You're not only the offensive line coach, you're the run game coordinator, and it's bad, dude. It's
the worst O line in football, the worst run game in football, and you
can't blame Ashton Genty.
No,
Ashton Genty's got pop. Ashton Genty's going to be fine if you give him an offensive line. Look at Saquon Barkley when he was running behind that really bad Giants line. That's why they thought they can get rid of him, because he had lost a step. He didn't lose a step. His offensive line was god awful. He gets to a good offensive line and becomes freaking the best player in the NFL. So there's a lot that happened here because winning wasn't the main thing. You have to keep the main thing the main thing. When that stops being the main thing, then this type of stuff happens, because you make decisions that don't make sense. Then you have to make decisions following that to cover up from the initial decisions. And it just keeps going downhill and going downhill until you course correct. And Pete Carroll did really goof that one up. He really geeked that one, because he had the opportunity to say, I thought we were a lot further along than we were. We're not. We have to reassess on some things. Take a look at some positions that, even though there's not a lot of experience there, we have to make sure that we're putting the best guys out there. You know them and I know them. We've trained with them. We've freaking got our heads pounded in by these guys. These guys are world beaters in the gym, and they get into a fight and they're like, okay, I didn't see what I saw in the gym. Or then the other way around, you see the same thing. You see guys that are like, okay, they're all right. Oh, he's going to fight. Oh, okay. And he goes out there and he freaking kills it. So you don't know what you have in a player in a game scenario if you don't put him in the game. And there's ways to do it. And it's like, yeah, you put Jack Bech in the game, but he's a glorified blocker. You didn't throw him the ball any. You didn't give him a chance to show you what he can do. Dude, Jack Bech, 6 for 6. He's exactly what I told you he was before the season started. He's a mix between Hunter Renfrow and Brock Bowers. He's going to get open. 4 of his 6 catches were for first downs. 3 third down for
the white boys.
What's that?
Yeah, man. I said score 1 for the white boys.
Dude, the guy can get open and he catches everything in the vicinity. That's him.
And he was drafted because he was super close to pro ready. Right? Dante Thornton, we all knew he was a project. Every single person knew.
But you gave Thornton snaps. You gave him the snaps. You gave him the targets that you should have given Bech.
And you drafted him because he was pro ready. You drafted him not as a project. You drafted him to replace Jacoby Myers.
And here's the problem. If Pete Carroll would have done this a month ago, okay, we were 2-7 at the time. All right. If he would have done that a month ago, we would have said, okay, you know what? These guys have earned it, and they're going to get more playing time or more snaps or more looks or whatever. We would have bought into that. Now, because of Pete Carroll and the players that are playing now that are playing so much better than the people they replaced, you're like, dude, this guy should have played a month ago. This guy should have been a bigger part of the offense 2 months ago. So he doesn't get that kind of vote of confidence for for developing. Actually, let me show you something here. I'm going to show you something real quick. Okay.
Dazzle me.
I
am pre-dazzled.
This is something that came up yesterday. So this is the first one. This is the first tweet. Okay. Vinny Bosniori said, right guard Caleb Rogers, 74.7, and right tackle DJ Glaze, 68.4. Two of the top 6 graded players yesterday per PFF. Interesting. Next year, if Jackson Power Johnson returns to center, because he and Rogers could be a solid interior duo. Okay, so a fan, Richard Macias, says, we've been saying to let the kid play, and he showed up. This is exactly the type of stuff that we hate about Pete and his sons as coaches. Okay, so that's one narrative, right? So to take it a step further than that, we have this. Here we go. Out of curiosity, this is Vinny Monsignori again. Out of curiosity, no credit at all for the development time the staff poured into him that helped prepare him to succeed when he got a chance, ? People don't realize how far he's come since training camp. He clearly had a high level of skill, but he needed work. Just my, 2 cents is off. Just my 2 cents. Now, I responded to that. Totally understandable, but, big but. When Rodgers is so clearly better than the players he replaced, you have to wonder, how much earlier should Rodgers have played? Which leads to the question, how many more young players are in that position now? So the fact that the young players are playing well, Pete Carroll is not given the benefit of the doubt. Those Carroll sons, one's the run game coordinator and the offensive line coach, one's the assistant quarterback coach. Arguably the 2 worst performing positions or position groups on the offense, okay? They don't get the benefit of the doubt for developing these guys because you can't trust them to know when they should have played these guys.
I'm going to get into that Twitter conversation because it proves the opposite. The rookies we don't know about. We don't know if they're pro-ready, not pro-ready. Was it really great coaching that got them to perform well? We don't know because you have no basis to know that from other than college, right? And pro is a whole new game. The linemen that are in the veterans that are in there now or that have been in there all season are worse than they've been when they were anywhere else. Kappa is worse. Putnam is worse. Meredith is worse. We have a basis for comparison. We have a sample size. These guys weren't good before, but we didn't think they'd be atrocious. Stone Forsythe's the only non-rookie brought in that you're like, okay, wow, this guy's not as terrible as we feared. He's the only one. Everybody else is worse than they were somewhere else. So no, you don't get credit for developing these guys because the only guys that we have a basis of analysis have sucked donkey balls. They've gotten worse under this coaching staff.
Yeah, and you combine that with the fact that Caleb Rogers is so much better. He had no negative marks against him. No missed blocks, no pressures, no sacks, no penalties, nothing. No quarterback hits allowed, nothing. He played great. He played a really solid game. And the fact that it's not like this guy is going to wake up one day and learn how to play football. All right? It's not like he's going to wake up one day and be so much better than he was a week before. That doesn't happen. You're not that much better than the guy you replaced in 1 week. Caleb Rogers has been that much better than the players getting snaps in front of him for quite some time. So no, you don't get a pass. Because if you're really all about competing, as soon as Caleb Rogers was better, he should have hit the field. And that was months ago.
So we've thrown a lot of blame around because there's a lot of blame to be thrown around. Ownership, Pete, coordinators, the players. We haven't given, I don't think we've given Spitek a ton of blame. I think he's been doing actually pretty well considering.
It was hard to because the guys he drafted weren't playing.
Plenty of blame to go around, right? And national media, local media, windbags like us, we've been a part of that. One person that's been completely devoid of any blame or responsibility about any of this, Tom Brady. If the Raiders were if it was reversed, right? If the Raiders were 11-2 and just playing fantastic, the entire media would be just gagging Tom Brady's balls, just both hands, mouth open. Oh, Tom Brady, he's such a genius. He stepped in, waved a magic wand, and now the Raiders are good all of a sudden. Wow, this is incredible. Just Tom Brady's presence alone, half-assing it because he's a Fox broadcaster and only gets to spend 45 minutes or whatever doing things to help the Raiders. Oh, my God, the guy walks on water. That that would have been the whole narrative. The whole narrative would have been like, okay, Pete would get some credit, Geno would get some credit, but it would be Tom Brady. It would be all Tom Brady. This team is worse than it was over 10 years. Not since like the Art Shell, like right when Al Davis was going senile, like mid 2000s years, has there been a team this dysfunctional. And Tom Brady has somehow skated by any criticisms, any blame whatsoever. It's time we stop. It's time we start holding him to the fire a little bit. It's about time we go to him and say, look, as if we can like make him do anything, but at least like in the court of public opinion, be like, okay, are you in or are you out? And when you are in, are you making the right decisions? Because whatever you're doing on top of everybody else, it's not all Tom's fault, but whatever you're doing, Tom, it ain't working.
I feel that level of blame would be warranted if the Raiders went harder on free agency. Mm-hmm. I think what happened was, and the reports were, I'm not pulling anything out of thin air here. The reports were the front office went to Pete Carroll and said, load up this roster with rookies, young players, and undrafted free agents. That's what we want to go with this season. And he talked them into, no, I can win. Just let me play the guys that I think I could win with. So it wasn't like Spitek and Brady tried to win this offseason by putting together a bunch of high-priced free agents and doing all this extra stuff, right? They didn't. They did the same plan that Telesco did last season. A lot of one-year guys, not signing anyone to big deals, nothing like that, right? So I think it would be more of a magnifying glass on Tom Brady and John Spitek had they tried to spend more money and overtly tried to, like you said, follow the money, try to win now with the pocketbook. They didn't do that. They put together a team of 1, sometimes 2-year guys, but mostly 1-year guys. So that's where the past comes in, because it seems like, again, we talked about this and we were saying this for months. The whole plan just seemed disjointed, because you hear what Pete Carroll is saying about winning now, but then the offseason didn't look that way, right? Mm-hmm. So that's where, okay, Pete, you think you could win? Have at it. If it means a couple of guys that would be undrafted free agents, if it means that we lose a 6th-round draft pick to the Saints, a practice squad, because you ended up cutting him and instead of playing him, okay, fine, it is what it is. But he was a 6th-round pick, right? So, yeah, it just, I see what you're saying, and to some extent I do agree, but because if we would have won with all these 1-year guys, then it would have been like, oh man, he did all this with a bunch of 1-year guys that other teams didn't want to give big contracts to. Wow, that's an accomplishment. This team wasn't built to win now. Pete Carroll wanted to win now, and he convinced the front office he could, but it wasn't built to win now.
It's one thing to lose, but you should still be building. The Raiders have taken a step back from last season. The offensive coordinator that by all reports say it was Tom Brady's guy, right? That was by, again, people leak.
Who knows?
Is it true or not? Who knows? seems like Tom Brady would probably have to give a stamp of approval on offensive coordinator, if not outright pick him, whatever. For what it didn't work out, right? That is not okay, we're losing now, prepping for next season. That is we took a step backward this season from last season, hiring an OC and having him bounce. Pete Carroll has not instilled a culture of winning, progressing, trust, compete, whatever. That's taken a step backward. So it's not even just the bad record. There was nothing other than getting younger, right? Not signing a bunch of veterans that were pretty good, but we didn't think was worth the money. Getting younger and saving all this cap. There was no other progression. No other progression. And so this, okay, we're not winning, but you can still accomplish a lot. And we didn't. The Raiders did not. There's no viewable plan that's on stage 3 of a 37-step plan to get to a Super Bowl. It's like we're at step -4.
So, yeah, but in all reality here, we took a step back because every time that you do what this regime does or regime did, it's a crapshoot of how the talent's going to come together. I didn't mind letting the players walk that we let walk, because other than Spillane, who actually went to a good defense, none of the other guys that walked are really doing much of anything, right? Merrick's punching guys in the dick, getting suspended. People are like, oh, yeah, the Panthers are no, they're not. The Panthers are like 19th in points scored and against the pass. They've gotten better against the run, but that's not Merrick. He's more of the against the pass guy, so they haven't gotten much better. Diablo flashes here and there, but I mean, what are the Falcons doing? They're not great. Then you have Hobbs is not playing well at all with Green Bay. So these guys that we let go, it's not like we're really missing them a ton, but they had played together for quite some time. And we did have that continuity last season on that defensive side. So as far as the team getting worse, the team did get worse in that perspective. So is it shocking? No. A little bit surprising? Sure. I don't know that anyone thought they were going to be this bad, but I mean, it's not. I'm not like, aghast or anything like that.
I mean, it's not we didn't take a step forward, even if it was supposed to be a baby step forward.
We weren't meant to,
right?
We weren't meant to. We were meant to regroup. This was the Reggie McKenzie reset year. This is what this was. We didn't have the opportunity to sign the players we wanted to sign and do the homework we needed to do because Spitek wasn't here. So he's resetting. And that's it. The only difference is Pete Carroll convinced him that he could win.
It just doesn't feel like we were set to 0. It feels like we were set to -3. And that's the part where I'm not going to let.
Well, maybe we weren't at 0 before. And we weren't, because we had a lot of high price free agents on this team that we weren't looking to sign. So it wasn't square 0. This was square 0.
Well, Chip was another step back. Geno was another step back.
Yeah.
I think
but they're not long-term answers. So it doesn't matter.
Well, Chip should have been.
Could have been.
Geno was supposed to be 3-year deal.
But they weren't. So you can move on from very easily. The $6 million that he's owed a year is probably 3 or 4 concerts, 3 or 4 K-pop concerts for Mark Davis, the money he's going to earn from those. I think he's going to be fine.
Well, it's like you said, this was a wasted year as opposed to a development.
Not completely, because there are some nice pieces. Maybe they're not game breakers, but there's some nice pieces on this team that eventually got to get on the field, and we're seeing that they are players in the NFL. I mean, this Broncos defense is not a shit defense. They're a good defense. So if you're targeted 6 times and you catch the ball 6 times, you're a player in the NFL. You're a guy. All right. If you go out there and you give up zero everything on the offensive line, you're a player. All right. Darian Porter knocked down 2 passes against a number 1. Cortland Sutton is a number 1 wide receiver. He knocked down 2 passes, one of them on 3rd down. Those are big plays. You're a player. If you can do that, you're a player. Against a guy like that, yes. So these guys that we're seeing, Shed Jackson goes out there, he beats Hafunga, and he beats Riley Moss on a nice little sexy skinny post. Boom. This guy's a player. So you're seeing little pieces because, look, this is the way that from where we are right now, I'm going to give you guys the game plan, okay, and see how close the Raiders fall to this, okay? You try your best to get as many draft picks as possible. Now, if you have your quarterback that you really believe in, take him wherever you can take him because it's a big jump. It's like a cheat code, right? If you don't have him or if he's not there or whatever, you trade back and get more picks, get as many people on the roster, young guys that you want to play as you can. Free agency-wise, you go big game hunting. You don't do the John Gruden and give a mid guy big money. You get the best player you can get, even if you only sign one or two. And the other guys are young guys on first contracts or 1-year vets. And that's how you do it. And you build up the young guys and you get star players however you could get them. Whether it's through free agency or building them yourself, you get star players however you can get them. But you only get free agency money to the big guys. That's what you want to do. And that's what the Raiders are going to do moving forward. They're going to try to get their quarterback. If they don't believe in the quarterbacks that are there when they pick, they should trade back twice. They should trade back 2 times if they can and get more picks because they need the players and the talent throughout the roster. If you get a free agent, you better get a really good one. If you're going to spend money, spend big money on a big guy, on a good guy. If not, then just worry about filling a roster. Don't use all your cap like this year. Don't use all of it until you can because you don't want to give big money to medium guys.
We said the exact same thing at this spot last year. I can't.
Well, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. That's what they did this year. That's what they did.
I just can't imagine Tom Brady preseason going, well, maybe a couple rookies will flash a little bit, and then we've done enough this season. Like, I just can't imagine anyone in that front office is happy, even Tom.
I think the biggest thing that they're unhappy about is the fact that these young players are playing so well, and they should have played much sooner. So they gave the coaching staff.
Everyone on planet Earth thinks that who doesn't have the last name Carroll.
Yeah. And the thing is that's why I was saying earlier today, when winning isn't the main thing, you compromise yourself and you compromise your goals and you compromise your ideals with your decisions. And that's what Pete Carroll has done. So when you put that all together, yeah, I would be upset if I was the front office too, because it's like, bro, I gave you these young, talented players for you to play, and they sat there and they rotted on your bench. Now, finally, they're able to get out there where you're ripping off the rotted leaves and they're starting to sprout now. But you could have done this in the beginning of the year. So that's, I think, more than anything, is not just that we're 2-11, it's how we got here. If we would have gotten 2-11 playing the young guys from the beginning, okay, you know what? I get it. They're getting experienced. They're not quite there yet, but we see them improve. But we didn't do it that way. And that's what really, I think, really going to eat. And that's what really is going to do in Pete Carroll, I think, at the end of the year.
We just had to know. We had under the hood with a 32-year-old Tyler Lockett. You know, you just got to really know.
I thought he was due.
What was that? That's Simpsons?
Yeah.
You bet your life saving on the.
I thought they were due.
You bet on the. Who did the Harlem Globetrotters play? The Generals. You bet your entire life savings on the Generals to beat the Harlem Globetrotters. I thought they were due. Did you see this headline? Henry Ruggs?
I saw that.
He's been transferred from a minimum security transitional housing center. Remember, we talked about this like 6 months ago. It's like, okay, he's starting the process to get back in. He was doing meet and greets with people and speeches and stuff like that. It's like, okay, he's starting the process to get back in. He just got moved to a medium security prison in Nevada. Minimum security transitional housing center, back to prison.
Eyeballs. Well, I talked to some people that I know that have gone on vacation a few times, and this is not altogether uncommon. When people are transferred to minimum security housing, when it's not close to their release date, it's for a reason. A condition of their early release, stuff like that, where they have to do certain things. And he was speaking and doing all these engagements, right? So that's part of what he's doing possibly to look better to get a release. Now that part he must have, or he probably did all of his engagements that he was contracted for or promised to do, and then now he's going to go back to where he should have been all along, because it's very difficult to get a guy out of a minimum security prison even for one day to do something. Like, it's not like Con Air and shit like that. It's much more difficult. So if you put a bunch of speaking engagements together, which Henry Ruggs did have, it's much easier to get him in and out of there from a minimum security housing unit. So that's probably why this happened.
The Department of Corrections said this in a response to an inquiry from 8newsnow.com. We can't disclose specific information on offenders. However, in general, an offender who commits infractions while at a lower level custody, depending on the nature and severity, it could be reverted back to a higher level of custody. So it could be what you said. Could be what this report said. I like to think he was making bathtub gin and it wasn't good enough.
It could have been a little bit of both. He could have gotten back a little bit later it could have been as simple as him not going straight back to the van when he was supposed to. It could have been something as small as that, because they're not going to screw around with that. And no one's going to catch Henry Ruggs. He's going to outrun all of them. So, I mean, it could have been either one of those things.
I wonder what the prison yard.
It doesn't have to be anything big either, because make no mistake, minimum security housing is a privilege compared to the pen.
I like to think John Gruden baked a cake and put a nail file in it to give to Ruggs to file out of the bars, like the DuckTales, and he got caught.
Like Pee-wee. Here's your cake.
I used to think that, like, remember being a kid watching DuckTales and be like, yeah, people bust out of prison all the time, and all you need is a nail file to get through a bar. It's like just that's simple. Also, being a kid, I thought that quicksand would be a much more dangerous part of my everyday life.
Quicksand was everywhere.
Yeah, you can fall in at any time and you immediately die.
It sucks, but it takes a while.
Raiders at Eagles. Have you seen the line?
It's big.
11.5.
Big.
Which team, RJ? Eagles. People, I was reading like a breakdown of the game. And they're like, oh man, the Eagles are 3-game losing streak. Their season is spiraling. And I was like, well,
what's this?
The Raiders are like, hold my beer, Eagles. How about a 7-game losing streak? What do you call that?
Flushed.
Circling the drain.
Down the toilet.
Is this the game? Kenny Pickett starts, a little bit of a spark. Jalen Hurts can't help but give the ball away. Do we stumble into Philly and win this one and fuck up getting the number 1 pick?
No, I don't think so.
Possibly?
I think that there's just certain talent level deficiencies that we have. I think Saquon Barkley is going to be a much bigger weapon, running and catching the ball. We are not good at all covering backs out of the backfield. Jeremy Chin and Devin White are getting a ton of tackles, like 7, 8, 9 yards down the field. They're not doing anything at the line of scrimmage.
White does a great job of tackling the guy he just let catch the ball.
Yeah,
he does that very often.
Or he misses a tackle, he gets up, and then someone else redirects him back, and he tackles him again. Mm-hmm. So the issues, the things that bother the Eagles offensively, we don't do. I'm not saying we're not capable of. We just don't do it. We don't play tight man. We don't blitz often. We play a soft cover 3 zone. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown's going to eat us up. Goddard is going to eat us up doing that. Barkley's going to eat us up doing that. If you give clear throwing lanes to Jalen Hurts, Jalen Hurts can beat you. And that's the thing that these teams were doing, is they were putting a lot of pressure on him and cutting down those throwing lanes by not playing a soft zone. That's why our third down defense is so bad. First off, we're bad at tackling. But secondly, we play the soft zone. We're allowing these players, even when we do get pressure on the quarterback, to have clean lanes and be very clear nice open targets for the quarterback to throw to. We're just not running up and tackling. So we're doing it the exact opposite way. We're giving them the chance to catch it, but we're not tackling. We should do one or the other. Either close, be a little bit more adventurous and close down the lanes a little bit, play a little bit tighter. And that way, it's going to be more difficult to complete that pass. But if you let them complete the pass, then you don't tackle them. That's why we're doing wrong. And and nothing tells me that, nothing is showing me that we're going to do any different than what we've done in the past, which is that. So if we do that, yeah, the Eagles can definitely beat us, and probably should.
The only thing that changes this game to others is Kyle Kelly is probably out, right? Did he go on IR?
He tore his patella tendon. He's done.
He's on IR, right? Yeah. So that's always been the two things that every
that's a rough injury, man.
Yeah. That's the thing that every passing team against the Raiders since week 3 has been the same. Pick on Kyle Kelly and then sit in the pocket and wait for Landon Roberts, Devin White to just like not get enough
cover
depth,
your guy,
and then just just throw your tight end or running back or slot receiver, whoever's in their general vicinity. They're not gonna touch, right? So like it's always been the case. The only change now is with Kyle Kelly out, Darian Porter taking that spot. Pretty, like we said, we've been hyping him up for a while. He ain't bad. That's the only change I can see. Like other than that, like what's possibly changing from week to week to week to week? Like
the only thing I can see, the only way that I see us winning is if we have a similar game than the Chargers, which just creating a ton of turnovers. The problem with that is we don't have the firepower offensively that the Chargers do to be able to score on that defense. So it's going to have to be something funky. Now, look, this game against the Broncos wasn't that lopsided. It looked a lot more lopsided than it was because of the Broncos' time of possession. That's why because every time you looked at the score, looked at the game, the Broncos had the ball and they were driving. So, but again, they took a long time to score and they had a special teams touchdown. So that game wasn't that far off. The issue that we're having is we're going to find it difficult to keep the score down defensively. I mean, we might give them another score special teams wise, who knows? But defensively, it's going to be hard for us to keep that score down because they have much more dynamic players than the Broncos do on offense. They don't have Saquon Barkley. They don't have a Devontae Smith. They don't have an A.J. Brown on that offense. And the offensive lines are very comparable. So if you put those guys out there themselves can make plays to really hurt you, get big chunk plays on their own. So that's the big difference. We don't have those types of players.
I was just thinking I think I just discovered Pete Carroll's biggest contribution to the Raiders is that he has so much respect from opposing coaches that they don't run up the score on him. It's like Sean Payton's just like, we're just going to fourth and 3 in field goal range. We'll just run it up the middle and just, let you guys get the ball back and keep it close.
Andy Reid taking knees at like 5 minutes left.
Putting second stringers in the third quarter. It's like that's Pete Carroll's big contribution is because he was good 10 years ago. Other coaches really like him. They're like, okay, I don't want to embarrass my homie,
That's happened twice, dude. Two coaches have taken knees in the fourth quarter with more than 2 minutes left in the game.
What was the other game? There was those two. There's another game where it was like same thing. It was like a 4th and 11, and they're up by 18, and they ran. It was at least 3 games that I remember. There's the 2 obvious ones that we just talked about. There's a third one where the coach is just like, I'm not going to embarrass Pete. What are we doing here? Ready to do some What a Winbags?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
Sam Demand, thank you so much for being a member. Appreciate it. Kind of a long one. So you guys are saying run it back with Pete and his kids and Geno and don't draft a quarterback.
Who said that?
Did that? Wow, I completely disagree. I think we can turn it around in 1 year. We just need the right head coach. Let him hire his coaching. You know what it was? We were trying to tell people that, look, a quarterback by himself isn't going to save us. This isn't one of those like, oh, if we just get Mendoza, we're fine. It's like, no, we're not. There's a reason why all these other quarterbacks played better to varying degrees, and then they played their worst football with the Raiders. Like, until that is solved, You're just going to break a quarterback. We're not saying don't go get a quarterback. I don't think we said bring Pete and his kids and Geno all back. The biggest thing was a quarterback by himself isn't a Band-Aid that's going to fix it. The ecosystem around him isn't there.
Yeah, I think he's putting a lot of different things together. And I think we were talking about things in their individualities. Mm-hmm. Like there's positives and negatives to Pete Carroll staying and going, either side. There's positives and negatives of drafting the quarterback in the first round, either side. And I think he's putting together those two things, but we were saying them separately.
I will say, never, ever, ever has the words come out of me or Soto's mouth of Pete's kids should really stick around. that has never been uttered. Although I will say, if Pete stays, he's not firing his kids. The only way they go is if he gets him a job somewhere else. Like he'd literally have to call Sean Payton and be like, hey, can Brennan drive the team bus for a little bit? Like, I got to get him out of here. And he can't get a job on his own. It had to be something like that.
Gonna be rough.
Oak Raider 125. Do you know what else the last three quarterbacks have in common besides sucking when they come to the Raiders? They sucked for every other team they've played for. That's why they're career backups. Gardner Minshew took a good team to the playoffs. Geno Smith was top 10 in most categories his first year in Seattle.
He won 10 games 3 years in a row.
Jimmy Garoppolo went to
an NFC championship game.
Jimmy Garoppolo had great success when he had to start for the Pats that whole season. Like, guys, to varying degrees, right? None of us are saying Gardner Minshew was Aaron Rodgers ever, but he was never as bad as he was last season. Geno Smith hasn't been this bad since he was a Jet. Like, that's what we're fucking saying, guys. That's what we're saying. Earlier in the show with the linemen, it's like they're all, none of them were good. They're all kind of just ham and eggers, just showing up, just whatever's, but they're worse here. Those quarterbacks, Gardner Minshew, Jimmy Garoppolo, none of them we're saying are Super Bowl caliber guys, but they were better than they were when they got here. That's what we're saying about this personnel. Yes, definitely. This team is lacking for talent. We've been screaming that forever. But that's not going to be the Eagles. Best example. Their roster demolishes every roster in football. It's insane what Howie has done with that roster. But Nick Sirianni doesn't know how to handle all that. So they're on a 3-game losing streak.
So Oak Raider 125. I think you're burying the headline here. The headline should be, with a better cast around them, these quarterbacks all performed much better. That's the headline. The headline is these guys suck, because we all knew who these players were when they got here. They weren't superstars. They weren't can't miss guys. They were solid players that played on good teams and performed well when the roster around them was good. That is the headline. This roster is bad, so anyone you put in a position that has to do more than they're capable of is going to fail.
And scheme, right? Like, why does Kevin O'Connell always get the best out of his quarterbacks? Why does Kyle Shanahan always get the best out of his quarterbacks, right? Like, there's that part too, right? Roster, scheme, the entire ecosystem. I keep using the word ecosystem because I think that's because it's just more encompassing, right? It's just like all that matters. Players, clearly, absolutely, probably the most important thing. But coaching's right there. Team culture, front office, ownership. It's all what's the consistent thing with teams that consistently win? Good owner, good head coach, good quarterback. Tight ends, linebackers, corners, they come and go. Linemen are always important, but they come and go. Consistently winning franchises. Owner, coach, quarterback. They're all united and they're all consistent. And then everything falls into line under that. And until that's settled, we're even if we get great players, if they're not rowing in the same direction, where are we going?
Yeah, man. And look, who are the really good / great players on this team? I'll give you a hint. There are two of them. There's Maxx Crosby, right? And Alex Kaplan. No, Maxx Crosby and Brock Bowers. That's it. That's it. You need more than that to build a team. And as what I talked about before, maybe a few months ago, the whole Mark Madsen syndrome. These players are going in who are capable, but they're capable of doing so much. If you ask them to stretch out and do even more, that's when they get exposed. They don't have the team around them to win. We're trying to build that. It's going to take time. Don't fall for the trap. It's going to take time to build a team.
Dominic 5. Look at Maxx Crosby. We have had him way longer than we've had Bowers, and we haven't won anything. And Max is not an impact game changer. We definitely need to trade him while value is still high and commit to a full rebuild. Max isn't getting any younger. So do you want to jump on this one first?
Max is an impact player. Max is the best defensive player we've had for quite some time. You build around a player like Max. Now, if your plan falls flat on its face, let's say in a year or so, I guess you can think about doing it then, but you have to put your plan together. You don't get better by trading away great players. Normally, the best player in a trade that team wins, regardless of what the other team got. The best player, that's who wins the trade.
You win by shedding bad contracts.
Yeah, you win by getting better players. You don't get better. And look, people will say, well, what about Herschel Walker? And Herschel Walker was not what people thought he was going to be in the NFL. He was good, but he wasn't a Hall of Famer. With those picks, you ended up getting like 3 Hall of Famers. How often does that happen? How often does someone do that and get better? Look what happened when we traded away Khalil Mack. Were we in a rebuild mode? Yes. It's the same thing. What happened with that? We shut away the picks. That's a possibility. It can happen. Is it likely to happen again? Probably not. But again, you have a guy that wants to be here, that's the leader of your team. He's making big money because he deserves it. He does affect the game. The only thing that this shows is how poor the other players on the defensive line are playing with Maxx Crosby. With so much attention paid to Maxx Crosby, double and triple teamed every single play, with all the attention played, other guys still can't make plays. That's how bad his supporting cast is on the defensive line.
I can't stand this line. We've had Max longer than Bowers and we haven't won anything. As if, okay, so by that logic, Myles Garrett sucks because the Browns haven't won anything.
Yeah, the Browns should trade Myles Garrett and just get a bunch of picks for him. Dude, no.
By that logic, the Lions never won with Matthew Stafford. So obviously it was Stafford that was the problem, right? Because they couldn't win with him. They couldn't win with Stafford and Megatron. So obviously they weren't good. Oh, wait. Stafford went to a competent franchise and won a Super Bowl, and he's probably the best quarterback in the NFL right this second. Like this season, he's the best quarterback in the NFL. Like I can't stand that logic because it's not logic.
Look, we all know who this guy is who said it. All right, and I've had my run-ins with this guy. It's a symptom of short-minded thinking. It's very short-range, short-minded. There's no perspective there, and the problem is when you look at things from that lens, you miss any type of perspective and any type of nuance and any type of foresight in a decision. And it's just, well, this guy sucks, let's get rid of him and get more guys. Well, what are you trying to get with those picks? You're trying to get the guy that you traded away. That's still in his prime of his career. So why not just keep him if you already have him? You build around that guy. You don't get better by trading him away and hope you get guys that are like him.
All right, that's it for us. Enjoy the games this weekend. Raiders going to a nice, cold, chilly one. And getting closer to Christmas. I'm basically, so I got one more. I work on Saturday, and then I'm off for 5 weeks. Can you believe that?
Jesus.
That's what I said. Like, it sounded so good. Then I was like, oh, wait.
That sounds terrible, dude.
When that direct deposit doesn't hit for a month and a half. Like,
that sounds awful, dude. At home with the wife and kids for 5 weeks? Oof.
I might just be showing up at your door, Soto.
That's a long time, man.
The 12-pack and a Game Boy. It's like, can I just sit here? I need to get out of the house. I'm losing my mind.
I'm thinking about getting a PS5, man. I haven't pulled the trigger yet, though, but I'm thinking about it.
Well, you got to wait till after Christmas. Maybe someone will get it for you. Throw out a bunch of hints. Maybe that's what you just did right now.
Hey, Winbags, someone buy me a PS5.
Yes, to answer your question, we do celebrate Christmas.
Hang on. I'll be right back. Someone did buy me something. Hang on.
Hold, please. Hold on. Let me slide my butt to the edge of my seat.
RJ Clifford, I want to introduce you to my new buddy, Bo. Somebody, JG9701, bought this for me and sent it to a P.O. box because I wasn't going to give my address. And they said they had something for me, and they sent this to me. And it's got a Raider symbol on the foot. How bad
you got something for your cats to hump on your bed.
Okay. So thank you again,
very generous.
AG9701 for Bo. Appreciate it. We watched football last week together.
Aw.
But if anyone else wants to give me a PS5, I'll shoot you the P.O. box.
Hit him up at Mr. Wonderful. All right, that's it for us. Until next time, knock on wood if you're with me. Well, look at you making it to the end of this video. You look like you want more. Go ahead and click the next video, and if you really love it, go ahead and subscribe.